Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Final Boy Status. I am your host for this episode, Lance and Lappin. As always, I am joined by my two incredible friends and great co-hosts, Adam, Stephanie Meyer, Stan, Bone, and Spooky Lukey Haueter. Say hello, boys. How you doing out there?
Hello, boys.
Hey, I'm doing good out here.
It's
Well,
us.
thank
We
goodness for
exist.
that. It's us. We're still here. Even after all the bomb threats, we're still here.
That last one from Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think.
Oh, dude, I ain't afraid of. I mean,
He didn't like that last episode, man.
I
all
guess
that, all that juicy content about the Predator, he can't take it.
You didn't even mention me in the movie, but have you seen the Predator? Oh my goodness, what a specimen! What are you talking about? Anyway.
Also, can you imagine if we did a whole episode about Predator and did not mention Schwarzenegger once? That would
We're
be
just
like a
we-
Guinness World Record.
Oh yeah, Arnie's in that movie. Yeah, that's right.
Oh shoot, we never talked about him once.
I don't know, it's
Yeah,
one of those
Dutch-
80s guys. Maybe it's Stallone.
Was it Van
Freddie
Damme?
Prince
Could be,
Jr. I don't know.
Yeah, it's Freddie And the Oscar goes to Freddie Prinze Jr. for Predator.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Just imagining him walking in at the very end and killing the Predator.
Pop, pop, pop. I love
If it
making my
bleeds, we
Freddie
can kill it,
Prinze
man.
Jr. face.
Oh boy. That's a good time. But for this episode, we also have a very fantastic treat for you. It is not only just us. We have a couple esteemed guests, Will and Rio.
Why did we steam them?
Oh!
Hey guys,
Whoa!
happy to be here.
It is so nice to have you.
Okay.
It's exciting to be here. Yeah.
I didn't know I was
I'm
in the presence
Oh
of
my
royalty
gosh.
here.
Guys,
Oh yeah.
Crown.
what Will just did topped everything we've been doing all 3 seasons. Like his
I
entrance,
know.
that's amazing.
I've
this
heard.
is-
I've always heard it said that you should start every podcast with a visual gag.
Yes. You heard right.
That's our philosophy here. There's so many visual gags.
I like the idea of a podcast that requires audio description,
Yeah, I know, right?
like a subtitle track, audio track along with it.
Oh,
Yeah,
goodness.
we hire a guy from England to like come in later, and anytime we talk about something that has to be seen visually, there's like a break in the audio and then a British voice describing the thing.
Will has placed a regal-looking skeleton into frame instead of himself.
Like, I like that his mouth is wide open and that you can't quite read what that expression means. It might be that he's impressed.
It's like a mixture of enthusiasm and extreme terror, I
Which
think.
is how I have
Which
always
is also
imagined
how I
death.
feel
I
currently.
think that's what death
As a
is like.
skeleton, that really checks out for me too.
Yes.
I think, in terms of the emotions you can feel as a skeleton, it's mostly fear.
A little enthusiasm.
A little
though.
enthusiasm.
This guy,
little
his name's
enthusiasm.
King Skeleton, and
Mm.
I bought him from Target last Halloween, and it almost ended our marriage about 3 weeks in
Yeah.
because he was the only. I just hung him up pre-Halloween decorations
Yeah.
and made Rio bow to him anytime we entered the room.
Oh,
Yeah.
dear.
I think he's cute, but he just was like front and center, like a shrine. It was
Yeah.
it was a lot.
You'd be trying to eat your soup and then he'd be in the soup.
Yeah. But we've settled our differences and now we have a very amicable relationship.
Just
Nice.
a full
Thanks,
here's
skeleton.
Johnny in your split pea soup. Yeah.
Oh
Can't help but notice you didn't bow on your way in today. Rio.
no.
Sits up like Michael Myers.
The full 90 degree.
That's the
Sorry.
only point of articulation
Yeah, he's
on
got
his
one.
torso.
He can
So
only
Yeah.
that's the
Nosferatu
only way he
himself
can
up.
sit up. Yeah.
So we could have another
Oh,
great
man.
visual gag of him flat and then doing the Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Fine, we'll do it. Fine, the people want
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to.
Oh,
get
this
a
is what
hand
the
out of
audience
this.
needs.
Okay. Nice.
Oh,
Oh,
maybe he
Will
needs
has
to be
now
facing you.
taken the skeleton and bent him at a 90-degree angle.
You know, like Michael Myers.
That movie that everybody has definitely seen.
Yes. I love Friday the 13th. Okay. Well, Will, Rio, thanks for being here. We're glad to have you. I don't know that we've had any guests this season, so this is really nice. Or if we have, I'm a terrible person and forgot. So maybe one of those two.
No, we
things.
haven't. It's just been us, so this is a breath of fresh air for everyone.
Whoa.
Adam, the way you
so
said
tired
that,
of each
though.
other.
That was the
Like-
saddest thing I've ever heard.
You know,
No,
it's
just us for
Just
45
us.
episodes.
Well, thank you. I
long
feel very
and dreary
esteemed.
road.
It does feel
Oh,
special
goodness.
that way. A lot of people throw around special guests as a phrase,
Yeah.
and they don't mean it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
but
It's true here. Mostly
We
for
mean
the
it.
skeleton. I gotta be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel really special.
Adam,
This
Okay.
is-
what is this?
What?
We want people to come back on this podcast. Just be like, I mean, special guest, the skeleton. Thank goodness you brought that. All right.
Well,
Adam's
they
already
brought the
done a
skeleton.
Adam's already done a screen grab, and he's gonna put it up in a poster on his wall, the empty
Oh,
man
goodness.
style,
Yeah.
sitting in front of King Skeleton playing a pan flute. What are those called?
A
Is it a pan flute?
Yep.
It's
An
like
accordion. Sorry, I totally forgot.
Yes, yes. All right. Well, what were we even talking about? The episode. Yes. Right back
podcast
into
we're
it.
on right now.
The thing we're supposed to be talking about. But yes, in case this is your first time listening in, or maybe it's been a while, over here at Final Boy Status, basically we do what you and your friends do when you watch horror movies, which is, oh, I could have survived that, or I would have done that, or what are you doing? That's a terrible idea. So really we just talk about the survivability of horror movies. And, if we could see ourselves getting out of a horror movie alive. And this episode, we have a very unique movie, one that I don't know that we've ever, we've never covered a movie like this on this podcast, which is extra fun. But it is the 2020 movie Host, not to be confused if you've been following along in season 3 with The Host, the wonderful Korean movie we covered earlier in the season. But Host, just a basic rundown of it being if we can go back in our minds to 2020 when we all, got together over screens and
I don't want to do that.
okay, well, we're basically
can I
doing it
not
right
do
now,
that?
but okay.
Yeah, back in the
Yeah.
day when people would talk and commute over video conferencing.
Talking to microphones,
crazy.
put on
We're
headphones.
past
What
that
what
now
was
in
that?
2022, but
Oh, what
I know.
a savage time of life. Anyway,
What
But
was that
yes.
even like? I mean,
Like
nowadays we all
Neanderthals,
get to
pretty
just
much.
be here together.
I
in the
can't
same
even
room.
remember what it's like to not have an in-person conversation.
Yeah.
I don't even want to. I just put it out of my mind.
I can't remember the last time I spoke to somebody and didn't exchange fluids. So, like, we've really come far as a society, and the world is healing.
So true.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
still
Yeah.
healing from last time I saw it.
Did you guys love Host? I've been waiting too long to ask it.
I know. Yes.
Did you love this movie?
15
Yeah.
minutes.
Boom.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Let's just dive right in. A movie which is very simple, straightforward. Video conference, a seance gone wrong. But let's wait no further. Let us talk about our opinions of the movie Host. So, as the esteemed guest, Will and Rio, what did you guys think of the movie? What did you like about it? Maybe what didn't you like? What were your opinions?
I love everything about this movie. I love, first and foremost, that it's under an hour to watch it. And so much about horror is just the anticipation, just the idea of having a hallway behind somebody. And the movie's that for 40 minutes.
Mhm.
And then scary stuff starts happening and it ends. Like, as soon as you've revealed what's going on, the movie's over. And that makes it terrifying.
Yeah, definitely. I've said it before and I'll say it again. All horror movies should be under an hour. I only have 1 hour worth of spook in
Spooks
me.
and frights. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, because my understanding is, Rio, you refuse to watch more than an hour of any movie. So you've
It's
only
true.
seen an hour of every movie.
Biologically, I cannot. Like minute 61
Biological.
hits and dead.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Instantly asleep
Yeah,
after 60 minutes.
it's a
Okay,
like,
so it
wonder
wasn't
of
like-
nature.
Not dead. It's asleep. Okay.
Yeah.
Not death.
We had to watch this movie the first time. We made a Zoom horror film in 2020.
Yes.
As a part of like the SUU theater department. They're
Yeah.
like, theater can't happen. Let's
Oh.
do a feature-length horror
Feature-length
film
horror movie on Zoom.
featuring parts that are a vampire in person and parts that are over Zoom. So we
Yes.
like watched this movie as research.
Yeah.
And Host is way better than the movie that we made.
Well, no,
Hey,
it is
give
for
it-
sure. It did get me an IMDb credit though, so I feel pretty cool.
Wow.
Those IMDb credits, they go a long way.
Oh,
When I
yeah.
Google myself, oh, what a feeling.
You can exchange them for goods and services, you know?
That's what I've been told. Every time I try to go somewhere to do so, they tell me I have to leave. But I'm sure it works out well for some people.
Oh,
Cash
apply in the
or
right places.
debit or credit or IMDb credit.
That's what most people hear. I barely get in through the front door. You know, I'm trying to go to Joann's and get some fabric, and I'm in the door in there. You gotta get out of here.
Wouldn't that be an incredible cryptocurrency?
Yeah.
IMDb
Fabric?
credits.
Fabric. That too.
What I like about fabric as a cryptocurrency is there's something real that you can hold in your hand.
Yeah.
There's
There's
nothing
what it-
crypto
I always
about it.
like the tangibility of my crypto.
I
personally.
really like funging my tokens personally.
I need them as funged as possible, extra if we can
Extra
manage that.
funged.
Yes, I know exactly what's going on. Oh my goodness. Okay. Luke, what did you think of Host? What were your opinions of the movie?
Okay, so here's the thing. When I was coordinating with Will and Rio, and they picked out this movie. And by the way, thank you so much for picking out the movie. We've had a long season of forcing each other to watch movies, and it was so nice to not be ordered around by Lappin and Adam for once. I have to admit, Will spoke about it with a lot of excitement, and he specifically mentioned the runtime is a huge factor. And I was excited about the runtime too, because we've indulged in a few pretty long movies over the years in this podcast. But I have to admit, I went into a little cynical. I'm like, well, but they made it on Zoom, so like, let's be honest with ourselves, it's not going to be crazy. And then it was crazy, and I really, really liked it. It's funny, genuine laugh out loud moments. The acting from beginning to end is incredible. And this movie relies on the acting. If even one actor was bad, the whole movie would suffer because of it. And everybody is so good. And I like the breakneck pace. Like Will was saying, there was a point probably around minute 50 where I was thinking to myself, like, man, like this movie's over. Like
Everyone's dead already.
Everyone's already dead.
Which is so crazy to happen in a horror movie because it's usually so much like slower and steadier than that. So to have everything go bad at once and there's like not really a chance to recover was really refreshing. But also I'm really worried about what we're going to even be able to say later on in the show in terms of like,
it's
how do we
such
get
a
away?
losable situation, and there's never a point where you have hope that anyone's going to make it out. Just to what you're saying about the cynicism, this movie has everything going against it. Like everything. It had a $35,000 budget, which is like 10 times less than the lowest budget feature film you've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's like pennies and whispers that they made this movie on.
Yeah. They made this movie with a Snickers bar. I think I'm not really up to date on what Snickers bars cost, but I think it's about 35.
It's 35,000, yeah.
They used 1/3 of $100,000 bar.
Or one IMDb token too, or what do you call it? Credit. I punched the
one
joke.
IMDb.
I should write these down.
There is so much to love about this movie, but I also want to leave room for Lanson and Adam to speak their pieces. I'm sure that we have overlap in the Venn diagram of love. So if you mention something that I wanted to bring up that doesn't get mentioned, I'll bring it up. But for now, I want to hear what Lappin and Bone have to say about it.
Very nice.
I'll go. I like this movie a lot. It was really fun. Yeah, it's tough to not say what you guys have already said, but I think I went in expecting it to be good because outside of this, I've also heard a lot of good things about it. And I also mixed it up with Unfriended. That was kind of a similar movie, which I haven't seen it, but I don't know if it's good or not. So anyways, I've heard good things. I went into it expecting good things and I saw good things. So that was a good process that happened for me. Um Positives for me, the biggest ones, I think it's a movie you watch and in your mind you're like, dude, I could totally do this with my friends. But at the same time, you can tell there's a lot of very intentional things that happen and a lot of skill that not everybody could do. Like if I try to make this movie, it would be super cringy. It wouldn't be good. I think it's because of the good acting and knowing, all right, this is the funny parts and then there's a transition to the scary and the transition feels earned and it doesn't feel cringy and it feels like, oh shoot, like this is actually pretty scary. Like I watched it with Sarah and I was kind of like hiding behind her, like I haven't been this scared in a movie in a while. I feel like it really, because it was so real, it made you care about what was going on and it did so in a small amount of time. So that was the biggest props for me. If I could pull out a negative, I would say that it just falls into the trap that most found footage movies do, where you're like, why are they still filming this? Like horrific things are happening to them, and
Leave
they're
your
like,
house.
yeah,
Call your
it's like,
mom.
call the
Yes.
police, get out of there, and your wife. I don't. Well, we are gonna spoil things in this podcast. By the way, we haven't done a spoiler disclaimer yet. We are gonna spoil the entirety of this movie. So, warning now: if your wife is hovering in the air and then her neck cracks and she falls and you still have your phone going, what's going on? It's a little, you kind of have to stretch your imagination a little bit, but I think that's just kind of the genre. Like I don't really blame this movie for going that way, plus it makes for a really good movie, so I can't really hate on it. But just something I was thinking about. I was like, yeah, realistically I don't know if this has had to go down, but I'm glad they did because then it's creepy footage. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yeah, it definitely is convenient that when someone falls to their death, they do give face to the camera.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, it's true.
I totally agree with that, and I think that's why those 60-minute runtime is so smart, because you almost, especially like Teddy, like the guy whose girlfriend dies, he joins the call. 30 seconds later, he's getting
Just
beat up.
beefed
Like
on.
there's no time to let people think about their decisions,
Yeah.
and they make bad, horrible found footage decisions. But not as bad as it could be. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
I like how it's all contained in one Zoom call, and they didn't pay for the extra subscription.
That would have been the point where it gets a little reductive, where they like, homegirl just got a wine bottle smashed into her face, and the meeting ends. She's like, "Okay, hold on, let me end this. I'll re-invite everybody.
Yeah.
Give it another hour. Sorry, I'm on my free account.
Like, I know you're
okay,
literally
everybody
on
just
fire,
rejoin.
but
Sorry.
can you accept my Zoom request? Thanks.
Right.
Adam said something that really got me thinking, because he's like, even as a criticism, it's hard to hold it against this movie because this movie is so good. It kind of earns a pass. How like all great movies have suspension of disbelief, and it just
Especially
made me
horror movies, yeah.
especially horror movies, and it just made me stop for a minute and think, like, is there any possible version of this movie and like the ending that would make me look back at the end, or any possible version of the end of this movie that would make me look back at the rest of the movie and be like, that was kind of a waste of time? And I think the only way that would happen is if at the very end of the movie, like the last person falls over dead and then it like pans up and it shows the girl's address is like 210 Cloverfield Road. I would have been like, oh, fuck this.
JJ, you got me again. No.
I too, as just a side note, I just forgot I was going to mention this. I don't know if you guys have seen Paranormal Activity, the first one. Also a very good found footage movie that has a lot of resemblance to this movie. I think there's a lot of scenes that they are probably very inspired by it, because that was kind of like the primitive found footage times. But I almost think this ending kind of earns a little bit more in that ending, where that ending, I don't know if you remember, it's an old movie, so I don't care spoiling it. She like scares the camera after everyone's kind of dead, and it's kind of like, I don't know, it's a scary ending, but at the same time it feels a lot more cheap. So I don't know, that was just something I wanted to put in, where it's like there's a lot of similarities, but I think this movie almost does it a little bit better, where again, shorter runtime, and even though there's a little suspension of disbelief with the choices with the cameras, it's not like the evil thing is trying to scare the camera or like is aware of the audience. Like there's no break at the fourth wall. It's just, I don't know. You're just kind of witnessing these horrific events with some convenient shots of the people, which is fine.
It's the cool horror like idea that the quality of your scares is like inversely proportional to how much money you have. It's like the Jaws thing of like, they'd scare the camera a lot more in Jaws if they could afford a shark that wasn't falling apart actively.
Right.
And like on a $30,000 budget, you just be like, okay, you'll just see someone pop into frame with a little bit of blood, and that's all we can do. And it works so much better.
It works way better, yeah.
Absolutely. But yes, I mean, I will try to find something new to say, as so many of you guys have like absolutely, nailed it.
Roast it, light it up.
Yes, I shall. But yeah, I mean, I love this movie. I love that this movie is very bare bones, that there's no real fat in it. It just gets right to business. And yeah, like Adam mentioned, this is a movie where I literally, like, by the end, I'm like doing this, trying to look through my fingers. I'm that scared. So yeah, just really impressive. I mean, with the budget that they had and what they had to work with, they really did a great job. It made me laugh the first 10 minutes of just everybody getting set up, because this is like, I mean, for my job, basically I'm in Zoom meetings all the time. So it's like a very, very relatable thing where it's like, hey, you got to like mute the audio on your phone, and then no, your camera's not on. And anyway, so it was a good time. But all in all, thought it was a great movie. And yeah, very straightforward. So this is the point in the podcast, as we've talked about some of our general feelings, we'll kind of shift more into the survivability. So why don't we kind of switch things up a little bit? Usually we talk about the antagonist, but we've kind of alluded a little bit more to the decisions of the characters. So why don't we open it up just to discuss the characters, some of their choices, something they did, things that they did that were smart, things that you were like, that's totally dumb. What do we think?
The best character in this movie for me, and all their choices, is Caroline, who's pretty much only like character trait, and it works well. But she's in the film from like as soon as they call the gal who's doing the seance, she's just like frozen. The whole movie, she's just wide-eyed, about to sob, even before like a demon shows up, and she commits to that all the way through to getting her face smashed into a keyboard. She does not move from just like, I'm so scared, and
so anxious.
I choose death is my option. I think they were all aware that they could run away, and they're just, I think I'd rather die right now.
Yeah.
This is a good time to mention, if you're the actress who played Caroline and you're listening to this, I am free next Thursday. And if you're the actor that played Caroline's dad, I'm free till the end of time, big boy.
That's maybe my favorite character.
let's go.
Kind of
let's go to the pub.
There's kind of an inverse like final girl idea thing, that the only person who shows their nipples to the camera, that's the only person we can assume survives. So like watching this last night, I was like, I think this is it. I think, just to spoil the whole podcast, I think we found it. If you're just a nasty old man, Jack the Ghost has no beef with you.
Well, we talk about some of the horror movies that we feel like really changed things were movies that were really not afraid to look at like the rules and totally change the game. Like Scream. Sidney Prescott is a final girl who breaks every rule and still gets out alive. This movie, we have the dad who breaks every single rule and is the only one who gets out alive. So, it's a great line of tradition of horror movies changing the game on you. And that's, it's great to have this movie counted among them.
I love the gal who's leading the seance, Salen,
yep,
Salen.
As like being so direct, so upfront. I hate the character of the like mystic who is being really cryptic about what's going
Yeah.
on. She cuts out her power. They call her back. They're like, we think scary stuff's happening. She's like, oh, you guys didn't.
Yeah,
You made a
shoot.
demon. Well,
Yeah.
sorry. And like hangs up, and that's the last we hear from her. I like that we're not. It's never the seancer's fault. The seancist.
Mm-hmm.
She's just like, this is on you guys.
Yeah.
Might ear be.
I also like that she's not like overly eccentric, you know, like this is her business. She like takes it seriously. Working woman, girl boss. We love Salen.
You know what? I have a little bit of beef with Salen, and I'm just gonna toss this out there.
Okay.
Like, there should have been some fine print or something. Some point in time where
You guys
she's
good with
like,
dying?
here's the thing. The moment in the movie she goes, well, all seances involve possession. I was like, oh, okay, nope. Like,
Actually,
I opt out.
Bad activity.
the moment she's like, well, people think of possession as like this bad word, and I'm like, what? Yeah, because it is. We're done.
Yes.
If you think that's not a deal breaker, but also like just tossing it out there. If like, why is it only after the fact that she's like, oh, also don't make stuff up. They hate like, don't make stuff up. A demon can just like that opens a door for demons. Like, so maybe don't. Like, why is that mentioned after? Like, I feel like if you're messing around with this, there needs to be a lot of rules explained right out the gate. If you're the professional you claim to be,
That's
Salen.
fair.
Yeah,
It's not like
she did say like respect it, but she didn't break it down to specifically what that meant. So when shenanigans ensued, I was like, well, they're not really respecting it, but maybe from their perspective, they're like, well, I still have respect in my heart, but maybe I'm just messing around. So yeah, there should have been some bullet points, you know.
This
I agree.
was month
PowerPoint.
1 of the pandemic, and I get the sense that Salen, was getting used to adjusting her business to a virtual
Okay.
model. And she's just like, at the next seance a week later, just like, hey guys, I've really sorted some things out. I've sent you a little shared Google Doc that we can all take a look at. I've made some mistakes. We've all learned some stuff. COVID's crazy. It's, we forget some stuff sometimes. But if you tell a lie, a demon's going to eat you.
Yeah.
I mean,
Also,
shout
not a
out,
single possession happened.
I was
That's all I
gonna
gotta say.
say it is like Chekhov's
like-
possession, and then it doesn't happen.
No one gets possessed.
Yeah.
I
The
will
music box
say,
maybe a little.
oh yeah. I will say shout out to Salen because most people in her position probably thought the virus was a hoax. Props to her for taking it very seriously and
Oh,
going
yeah.
to the virtual model. Like,
Pro-vax medium.
Yeah.
there are chiropractors who took it less seriously than she did, and those are like people that got actual degrees. Like, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
What's a seance if not a Zoom call with ghosts?
That's really deep.
Think about
When
that.
you're right, you're
That
right,
was,
man.
That was
That's
the
a
log
stumper.
line of this film.
I want to point out that even not knowing the fine print, the character of Gemma is a real dick. I think
Mhm.
she still was making. I don't know. That was still a dick move. Everyone else is taking it seriously, and also everyone has like actual dead people that they're like. It's obviously still a very emotional, even if you're not like. If you're a skeptic, it's
Mhm.
still obviously a sensitive thing for everyone to seance. And so yeah, I think as a human being, she should have had more respect, even notwithstanding that there was a demon just waiting to get in. So
The other
Um,
guy who takes it the least seriously, Teddy, is that his name?
Yeah.
yeah,
He still shows up and is like, I do want to commune with my grandmother, who I love very much. And Gemma's
Yeah.
like, oh, I hear a dead person. Oh, is it Teddy's stupid grandma? Oh, sorry if your grandma died,
Sorry, your
idiot.
grandma died. Yeah. I also think it's interesting, like, how seriously Haley takes it. Like,
Yes.
she's like dead serious the whole time. Like, girl, who are you trying to contact? You know what I mean? Like, she like wants all of her friends there. She's going to like commune with Jesus the Christ or something.
The plot twist that
Okay.
we never see is that she was trying to summon the demon.
Got 'em.
Oh,
That's
a-
the sequel,
There's-
baby.
There's no other reason you would befriend and invite Gemma to your seance. Like, you have to know Gemma's going to ruin this.
Like, I want her
He's like,
dead.
I know this is
That is the
happening, and I'm
fatal
cool
flaw
with
of
it.
this film. Yeah. is like Haley knows Gemma's such a jerk.
Yeah.
She did
The
go to
moral
her
of the
house
story
at the
is-
end.
Maybe don't include all of your friends in activities. It's
Yeah.
okay to exclude sometimes.
Although talking about a small thing that like film geeks will love this. A small thing this movie does really well is establishing an idea of spatial awareness, in that it may seem pointless to have Gemma like answer the call from her phone and then walk home from Haley's apartment, but that's setting up. We know Haley lives walking distance from Gemma. We know that route, and we know exactly how long it takes her to walk it. So when she does it at the end, it's like that's just a small level of like really smart filmmaking. And I'm preaching to a room full of film geeks, so I'm not saying, but like to the audience out there, that's just something to be aware of. That's a really cool small detail that's just good filmmaking, like establishing the sense of here's where they are like spatially related to each other. And also like related to each other. I think they're third cousins. Subtext.
This is my big question from all of it. I have no idea what the group dynamic is, and I think I just missed something.
Yeah.
Or like
British people and Americans can't be
Haley's
friends.
got an American accent. Everybody else is
No.
like British. It's this weird like they're like grad school friends or something. Like it doesn't need to be set up, because it would be dumb for you to get on your Zoom call with your friends and be like, oh man, remember good old Mr. Johnson's class? He was a real chump, but it really brought us together, huh? Anyway,
Anyways, come to my
I'm
seance.
gonna talk to my dad, my ghost dad. It's
Yeah.
It's so good, like, because this film is really about COVID, right? And like that's so dumb to like boil it down to that, because every film was about COVID that people were trying to make in 2020. But like Haley is so stressed out the whole time, even before it starts, like just wants to do something that her friends will like doing with her so badly, and she's like tense the whole time.
Mhm.
And it's the most relatable tension I've ever seen, of just like, we're gonna play Jackbox games, and it's on Discord, and none of you have ever used Discord before, and I
It's
just
gonna be
want you
fun.
to like it and have as much fun as we did in person, or I'm gonna explode. And then ghosts show up.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then go show up. Yes.
Hate it when that happens and
Relatable.
split the room and quiplash, you know?
Oh,
Trivia
man.
murder party. Boy, that can get out of
If
hand.
you
Yeah.
tell a lie in quiplash, that creates a mask.
A demon will find you.
Yeah, if you tell you tell a lie in quiplash, then Arnie Niekamp himself shows up and breaks your kneecaps. I don't know what else. Like, what else is he gonna do? A podcast?
Yeah, maybe if I knew who that was.
It's a great joke for podcast heads out there.
Oh my goodness. I do have to say, since we're kind of on the subject of Haley, she consistently makes some very terrible choices in this movie. Like, when stuff's going wrong in your friend's house, you don't go, you gotta go check it out. No, you don't
That's
do
the
that.
first thing she says. Yeah.
Caroline is
Check
like
it out.
quaking, and they're like, go into your attic. You're like,
Hey, that super sketchy attic and that rickety ladder you have, go up there. It's like, no.
My favorite is when Caroline puts the laptop down and starts climbing the ladder, and Haley goes, "Take us with you."
I want to see.
know.
Wait, the
Documented.
audience.
Man, she really wants to meet Jack the Devil tonight, man. I tell you what, jeez.
Did you guys have the chance to see the short film that got this film funded?
No.
So the director did this movie for real, in a real Zoom, like just a COVID Zoom call with his friends. It did not tell them that something scary was going to happen, but they just had a hangout, and he's like, "Oh, I hear something in my attic. You guys want to come check it out?" And something very scary happens in the attic. And it's this little YouTube short film, basically, that went so viral that he got a meeting with Shudder and like got this film made
way.
for just being a jerk to his friends.
That's all it takes.
I mean, his name is Rob Savage, so
What do you expect, huh?
Yeah. little self-fulfilling prophecy for the
Just a
Savage
little
family.
rascal. I do have to. Sorry to bring it back to Gemma all over again, but like speaking as somebody who loves to be a little rascal, hardly rascal behavior to tell a really triggering and traumatizing story about a fake story about a kid who commits suicide.
Real dick move.
Like she's doing her like regional high school theater competition best monologue performance too. She's crying, she's
Mhm.
shaking, she's finding her motivation internally just to like be so disrespectful.
Oh my gosh.
Even just in the story, yeah. Like if there wasn't even a seance going on, why would you just make up the story about a kid you knew who killed himself in high school?
Also,
What's the point?
she her justification for that action is like, well, nothing was going on and I was so bored. But like she did it right after Haley was like, I feel something on my neck, like
No, she'd been working on that for
she'd
a
been
month.
working on that. Yeah, stuff was going on. We were going places.
Yeah, she was workshopping that with her other friends.
It's like,
She had a script typed out on Word directly in front of her on her laptop screen.
There's not a chance Gemma has any other friends. Gemma is the antagonist of this film.
yeah.
Now, what are you talking about? She
Oh.
was workshopping it with Rob Savage. Same time he was goofing off with his friends on Zoom, showing them stuff in his attic.
I think to put the obvious bad decisions at just the found footage or kind of the horror movie cliche bad decisions where it's like there's something I hear movement or something broke in my kitchen. Their first thought is it's probably a ghost instead of someone's literally breaking in my house. Like they should have jumped to maybe I get it was during a seance, and if I was in this situation, I'd also immediately think it was a ghost, but also call the police.
It's a great
Someone's
point
breaking
though,
into your house.
because it kind of gives the impression that Salen doesn't believe any of this actually, and it's just her like COVID side hustle.
Right.
Because they hear a loud crash after they ask for the ghost to make a sound, and she's like, "Oh, sorry, that's
That's
DoorDash.
my delivery.
Let me go get it." Not for a second does she think that it's a ghost, and she's the only one. She knows it's made up.
Don't say stuff like that. We might get haunted on this.
Yeah, is this
podcast.
me creating a mask on
Please
this
don't do that.
podcast right now?
What's
Oh,
the
no.
internet
Gotta be
version of
respectful,
haunted?
guys.
Doxed, I guess.
I don't got no candles. I'm good.
Yeah.
I- in terms
Throughout
of
the
no
film,
candles.
I don't know, when I watch horror movies, I try and figure out the rules of the ghost, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like,
yeah.
do you survive if you get out of your house? Do you survive if you don't light the candle? Or because genuinely some of the girls there
Good point.
don't do anything wrong, and then they just get blown up,
They do something wrong. Everybody makes one big mistake together in like horror movie rules, and it is being friends with Gemma.
Yeah.
The cliche Gemma friend rule.
Yeah.
I thought
That
the
Yeah,
mistake
when-
punishable by death.
When Matthew Lillard explains that
Yeah.
you should never be friends with
Drew
Gemma.
Barrymore was friend with Gemma. We
Yeah,
had
my
to do
favorite
something
part.
about it.
Favorite part of Scream is when the guy from ... is like, listen up, listen to this. I was just going to say, I feel like the person who actually comes closest to surviving this movie is Teddy, in that he's horny, leaves the seance, but then I guess in his post nut clarity is like, let me just tag back in.
I gotta
If that
catch
guy-
the
I
end
got
of
this
this
great
seance.
clown bit to give him. Y'all seen Poltergeist? I'm about to do it live.
Do you think that the sex was just a planned thing to where he's like, okay, you come in, it's gonna get like a little randy between us, and then that'll give me 15 to 30 minutes to really work on my marionette bit off camera.
A classic Teddy joke. Well, and here's the point I'm going to bring up, and I need everybody to bear with me here for a second.
okay.
If Teddy was a little more of a giving lover, he would not have wandered back into this movie.
Aftercare.
Like,
Cool.
if he hadn't, like, hey, we have like 15 minutes, let's go take care of business. Like, and then he came back for the seance. Like, if he missed that like Zoom meeting length window, he's home free, baby. He's a winner on two fronts. One, he had sex. Two, he got out alive. Like, all I'm saying is this guy, like, we talk a lot about how sometimes we say this because in the first Halloween, there's the guy who has sex with Michael Myers' sister, and then just walks out of the movie unscathed because it must have been the
Hey,
fastest sex
my bad,
anybody's
little
ever-
guy. Yeah.
It was like
Like-
30 seconds.
It couldn't have been like that important for either of them, because the next time we see his girlfriend, she's just like outside Blair Witch standing next to the pool on her phone, just like fully standing up in the backyard, like staring into the night sky, probably thinking of how to break up with this guy.
So I don't know. It's interesting to think about. Like,
That's a
is
fair
there
point, Luke. I'm with you there.
A rebuttal to that
Oh, okay.
is without that, we don't get to see the marionette. So, I mean, it's a give and a take, more than a take rather than a give. But sacrifices have to be made.
And you know what? I think Will's really onto something. It's entirely possible that no sex happened. It was all staged, so he'd have a little bit of time to practice his marionette bit.
I do love that. I love that as like, in my mind, that's canon. That's how it went down in the movie.
He does set up like a couple bits. Like, he's the most self-aware, like Chekhov's gun person in real life, where he's like, and this is my scary music box. I hope that doesn't come up later. And oh, my scary clown doll. And he's fully planning like a whole show for them. They're like, oh, the music box. Teddy, I remember when you mentioned that in Act 1. Because if they did just like have meaningful intercourse and they, a little aftercare and they miss rejoining, then how mad would you be, Luke, that you didn't get to see the music box play?
Yeah.
He did it for us.
I've never thought about it like that. And I'm glad you're here to open my eyes on this. From now on, 15-minute sessions are it for me. Just
You
to
gotta
make sure
start
I'm
the timer.
satisfying everybody in my life.
You've got to deliver on your promises from Act 1 in Act 3, and you can't let
Yeah.
anything get in the way.
If you show a marionette in Act 1, then by Act 3, the marionette has to be a demon? ?
Yeah, I think what was that movie we watched? That the Red Flag.
Deep
What was
Red?
that movie? Deep Red.
Red.
Yeah, that marionette came back in that movie too. It's true.
There's a marionette in that movie.
Yeah, there's like
I'm-
that weird doll thing that comes in it.
Oh,
and you're
okay,
like,
yes, I do remember
why
that
is-
now.
That it made no sense in the movie, but it was scary. So
Yeah.
But hey,
One
it was
takeaway
good.
I'm getting is just don't own marionettes.
don't do it. Yeah.
Personally,
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Mannequins, marionettes, anything that like in the dark, you're like, what is that? You should just get rid of.
Unrelated, I'm going to need like 5 minutes. Just going to do some picking up around my place really quick.
You like marionettes, don't you, Luke?
No.
Show them. Show the camera right now.
It's just
One
a sock puppet.
One thing I want to circle back to is and this might be going on antagonist territory, which I don't know, we could bounce back if we need to, but I like what Rio said about the rules. And I feel like this antagonist is so ambiguous as far as it's just an evil demon that wants to kill people so bad, and it just found and it's kind of cool how simple it is. Like, it didn't really have any deep motivations other than that I am a demon, I am evil, therefore I must kill children. I guess they're not children. I must kill young adults on a Zoom call. The demons are getting with the times too, where they use Zoom as a conduit. I think that's really smart as far as the
Yes.
decision that they're like, Zoom's a thing. I can use this to kill people. That's awesome. So the demon was, I don't know. I have no complaints. I think they were really smart.
It's the thing that makes Insidious really hard for me, that the demon's motivations just seem to they spend the whole movie trying to figure out what this guy wants and like why he has a collection of children and why it's so complicated. But Jack the demon in this just needs the tiniest invitation in, and then 15 minutes, and he's taking care of everybody. Done. Clock in, clock out, back to hell.
You know
love
what else
that.
I like about this Jack the Demon fella?
Yeah.
I like how honest he is. I like that they're asking him questions and they're like, I love
Yeah.
the part that they're like, "Are you our friend?" And he's like, "Oh no."
Oh, no,
Oh,
no.
brother, we're not gonna beat around the bush, man.
Sorry.
First of all, never in a million years would I be friends with Gemma. Second of all,
Am
I really the
demon here? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you should rethink your friendship.
He
Oh,
does
man.
communicate really well, and I really appreciate.
Gemma has your emotional needs at heart. We don't hear him talk. I don't know why we've latched onto this voice, but
I like it.
Yeah.
Macho
It's-
Man Randy Savage. I love it. With Jack the Demon.
oh brother,
maybe COVID's a good time to reconsider your friendships that aren't worth your energy.
Oh,
also
man.
worth pointing out that like when shit pops off, Gemma tries to save exactly one of them. Like,
Yeah.
first of all,
there's Emma, and she's like, "You're good. Stay
You're
under your bed. I'm
fine."
gonna go get Haley. You're good though.
Yeah.
You'll be fine."
stay under the covers. Famously, demons, they draw a line at the covers. They're like, it's
true.
like
no
that
object
logic.
permanence.
It's like that logic of like, if your toes aren't under the blanket, the demon can grab you by the toes, right?
That is.
She's like,
I live by that.
imagine a version of this movie where like her toes slip out from under the blanket and you just whoop.
Them toes.
It works though too, like incredibly
Yeah.
consistently. The
For,
people
like,
who
10
hide
minutes.
from this ghost don't get bothered.
That's true. As
Like-
soon as she throws the blanket onto him, he's like, "Oh, there you are. I was looking for you."
When Emma comes out, she gets got. Haley spends like 15 minutes hiding under a desk, and nothing happens in her house the whole time. Like the ghost is just on that like alien isolation AI mode, where like if you're in a closet,
Yeah.
you win.
It also has the power of teleportation, I think through Zoom probably, which is kind of an interesting little thing. It can, I mean, it's constantly. I'd have to go through the movie maybe if you guys have seen it a bunch. I don't think things happen simultaneously. I think it's there and then there. So it is one demon, right, that's doing all this, and they can't be in
Yeah.
the same place at the same time. So I don't know if that's a weakness or a strength or what, but it is a factor. It I think if the Zoom call ends, does it have no power? Can it not bounce between them? I don't know.
Yeah, I think about
Good
that too
question.
with like, do you think Salen lives? Because like she like calls after
No
like
internet.
shit's gone down. You know what I mean? Like can
Right.
he also use telephone?
Oh,
Or is he
so
like
it's electronic.
pretty loyal to
ghost?
Zoom?
I don't know.
Mm.
Just a full
definitely
man like
gets
pushing
to her
himself
side.
out of the phone.
Excuse me.
Or like
sorry.
Rain Girl style, but out of a phone.
Can you please step back?
You know, Salen has like a Nokia flip phone too.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Prepaid.
Jeez, dude. You flip that thing down, it'll probably decapitate him.
Got him.
Squash him like a bug.
Exactly. Something that I also think is funny is we kind of brought it up, but just in my mind, I think it's hilarious. Like any little invitation. So like, just in my mind, he's like got this incredible research department of like, did this really happen? She didn't have a friend named Jack.
They're
Been
like,
there.
He's got the like loudspeaker, like high school in hell. And he's like, "Hey, is there anybody named Jack here? Do you know a Gemma? You picked her up when she busted her head. Had to die a very tragic, horrific death. Anybody?"
A young ghost named Jack, you left your invitation on the counter. I will be taking it if you are not here to grab it.
You have 5 minutes, or it will be towed.
Yeah.
I do love how much he commits to the bit too, of like, yeah, I'll bring a noose. I have props, like I'm really gonna commit to this Jack character.
A true actor, a
Yeah.
true
Yeah.
improviser.
Imagine if
I-
she'd made up something dumb. Like she was like, "Oh, I knew a kid," and then he like drowned in a vat of liquid licorice, and the demon's like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me! Oh man, oh, God.
Augustus Gloop is back to haunt you.
That, oh my gosh. When does Charlie and the Chocolate Factory enter the public domain? Because of a horror sequel where the ghosts of these chocolatey children come back to kill Willy Wonka is a genius idea.
Yes.
Yeah, Shudder, if
Chocolate
you're listening,
Factory.
hit us up.
That'd be good.
A Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory remake that shows Willy Wonka as the villain that he is. Full Michael Myers mode, just murdering children. Step a little closer to my vat of chocolate. That's
I think you've hit on how you survive this, right? Because there is no surviving Jack that they created. He is Rambo, the Rambo of ghosts, the John Wick of the deceased. But like, if you just come up with the most impotent, silly little ghost guy, you're like, oh man, I hear the voice of my friend Tony, and he gave me such a good hug and a big kiss on the forehead that he died.
He died very peacefully. He's very happy, well-adjusted. I'm sure if he were here, he'd be great.
I hear the ghost of my best friend Tony Pepperoni. He used to always bring me pizza.
Death
Oh,
by
ghost
pizza.
King Skeleton just fell over on his own. Live
Oh,
right now on the stream. I
oh,
think
God.
Tony
Starting.
Pepperoni.
Tony
Luke,
Pepperoni's here.
I told you not to bring up Tony Pepperoni. This happens every time, dude.
A mask.
That's what's so
What are you guys
scary
afraid of?
about
Just bring
Host.
pizza.
Is that this is the exact setup of the movie where we're making fun of ghosts over video conferencing, and it's very spooky.
I'm not. I respect the spirits. Love you, Tony.
I feel
I'm
really
so sorry,
betrayed
Mr.
right now.
Pepperoni.
I'm so sorry.
Mr. Pepperoni, I only wish to honor you.
You'll have to leave
I-
Crazy Bread out this night. Sorry, Adam. Go ahead.
No, I've just been thinking about the demon is just a hard puzzle to crack, because
Yes.
also, like, any demon, and this is like most horror movies with a seance, are they just like wandering around waiting for people to break these rules, just kind of like at the edge of existence in the temporal plane, or do they just get a call? Like, I don't know. It's just
It's the meme of the guy hiding behind the tree, rubbing his hands together and licking his lips.
like, what a life that is.
seance. Oh boy.
Oh,
Yeah, when a
Yeah.
mask, a corporeal mask becomes available, what's the process? How big is the wait list? Like,
Yeah.
when do you know you're up next?
am I the
Good
demon?
Do you
for
get
this
like a little
job.
brief? Is there like your agent gives you a call and like, all right, you're up. Your name's Jack. Your motivation is that you really hate Gemma was really nice to you, but
Yeah.
not nice enough.
Yeah.
Go get him, Tiger. You got 30 minutes before the call's over.
I like the idea that they're doing it like King of the Hill style, just like whoever can get to the top of the hill and grab the mask in time, you know?
Yeah.
Just
Maybe
a
they have to
crowd.
like audition for the part, and then they're like, "Yeah, you can play Jack. Go for
Yeah,
it,
the
bud."
call for self tapes goes out
Yeah.
instantly.
Yeah, Sarah Haley Finn is casting.
Hello, my name is Glubathar. I am 7'10", and I weigh 8,000 pounds. And this is I will be playing Jack, the boy.
Jack the boy.
I'm auditioning for the role of Jack. This is a monologue that I definitely got from Googling top 10 monologues for men.
I will be
between
performing a
20
monologue
and
called
40.
"I Ate the Divorce Papers."
Oh man.
And I'll be singing "Don't Rain on My Parade." 1, 2, 3.
Big shout out to my
Amazing.
friend Ben for doing the choreography.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, it is cut because I think Salen does say that like anybody could use the mask, so it could be a demon. It could also be just like another ghost.
True.
So you're really like rolling the dice on this, you know.
Yeah.
So like, when we summon a ghost to this this virtual meeting, this Zoom meeting, we could end up with like a super nice guy,
Yeah.
Just roll the dice.
Tony Pepperoni could be a real guy. We don't know.
Hey, anybody order a pizza? Tony.
We love you,
That's
Tony. Like the Tony the Tiger.
there's nothing funny about this, but legitimately the girl who plays Caroline is so good in that moment where they talk to Salem on the phone. She's like, if we're lucky, it's just like a cool ghost who is interested in this mask. And Caroline, when she's like, what if we're not lucky? Can you ask her what if we're not lucky? And she's like crying. That's like a legitimately some of the best acting I've ever seen.
Yes. Just incoherent whimpering from my girl.
Everybody kills it in this movie. It was so weird for this
So
movie to
good.
start and for me to think to myself, I don't recognize any of these people. And by the end of the movie, you're going like, why do I not recognize any of these people? Like,
Mm-hmm.
And you're so glad because it doesn't work if you know who these people are. I love how hard they commit to the realism. This is not like they're not chatting on like onlinechat.com.
Yeah.
Like this is Zoom with trademarked Zoom. It looks like Zoom that everyone's
Mhm.
using.
Yeah.
You see them click on all the features that
Mhm.
you are so familiar with. There's nothing about this movie that makes you think that it couldn't just be
Yeah.
a real recording that you're watching.
They also like use their own names, right? Like their own names,
Yeah.
own like houses. Like
And that's why there's
everybody
the little
but Teddy uses their name. So I
What's
wonder.
Oh, really?
Teddy's
What's
name? Why is
Teddy's
I don't
name?
know.
name so
I don't remember his
bad?
real name, but it wasn't Teddy. So
He's like, I
oh,
play a douche
okay.
in this, and I don't want anybody to think I really like that.
his name's
Fuck Teddy.
Edward. I just looked it up.
Oh,
His
okay,
name's
that
Edward.
makes. I mean,
Edward.
that would be bad if his
Ted
name
Could
was-
have been Eddie. I don't know.
I'm also just imagining like that part was like we're talking about like if they had cast a well-known actor, like how much that would have ruined the movie. I'm imagining there's another cut of this movie where Teddy's played by like Neil Patrick Harris, like, and they're like something about this doesn't work. Like,
Right.
But in this
Just
instance,
vaping.
I think it does work if it's like the friend that joins late, and it's not like Neil Patrick Harris playing Teddy. It's just like, oh Neil, what's up? So glad you could make it, bud.
Neil
He's like,
Patrick
oh, I guess
Harris
sorry, I just got off set. Like
canonically
a
dies.
little bit late. Let's do this. These are my best friends, Caroline
my husband and my
Gemma.
children are out of town. You guys want to see a magic trick?
Oh,
Oh
my goodness.
man, I love because there are movies like that which I think are amazing, where you have an actor like playing themselves and they're willing to like just whatever with the character up into including kill them. It's like not to be that guy, but like I'm not gonna say that I'm a big fan of Seth Rogen movies, but there's something so hilarious and offbeat and charming about This Is the End, where they fully show like actors playing themselves getting murdered. Like I don't think I've seen that movie all the way through, but I could watch the clip of Paul Rudd accidentally stepping on and crushing Mindy Kaling's head. I could watch that clip over and over again.
And they got like Eminem to do it in the interview, which just makes it.
Scene.
It's
Yeah.
crazy that there is a universe out there where they got Eminem to be in host and just play Marshall.
And fully get like they probably approached him, but his thing was like, no, you don't understand. At the end, Jack comes into the room, we have a rap battle, and I vanquish him with my sweet rhymes because I'm a rap
Oh.
god.
But what if it's Stan? There's my horror movie pitch to Eminem, where he gets hosted by the ghost of Stan.
Such a good idea. I think.
It's
Yeah.
all coming
Boom.
together.
That's gold.
It's all coming together. All that film school money's finally paying off.
Oh, yeah.
All those student loans are truly being forgiven now.
Oh, goodness.
I like the term getting hosted.
Did you ever just get
You
hosted?
ever just get hosted? Sorry, I can't talk right now. I'm getting hosted.
2020 was the
Yeah.
worst.
But that could also apply to like having a like ribbon worm invade your brain, or
True.
having like a river monster steal your daughter. Oh man, I got hosted this week. It's been a rough one.
Jeez.
during
Oh
the
man,
review
which
again.
one? What kind did you get? The Jaded Mormon hosted, South Korean hosted?
God, I got all three. It was
It
a
was
really bad
rough.
week.
Oh,
Worst week of that guy's life.
going back to Jack, he's also true to the form of demons in movies where, especially the scene we were joking about it during the movie where she's hitting the camera and then the flash, and she hits the camera and then the flash, and then I was like, oh, rule of thirds, here it comes, and she hits it, and then it flashes and nothing happens. I'm like, oh, the number 4, and then she hits it, number 4, nothing happens, and then on the 5th one, the demon comes out and scares him. But
Mhm.
it's funny that the demon's sitting there. He's like, not
They
the
thought.
third one.
Yeah.
Not the 4th, the 5th one I'm gonna cut. Like, he's waiting for it because he knows. I don't know. He just knows.
It's such
timing well
a
enough.
yeah. It's such a like. The timing of it is very like baseball, of him just like waiting for just the perfect pitch, and he
Mhm.
can stand
Yeah.
there all day. You know, they're tossing balls left and right. So
Like this.
Did you-
They're in the room. They're close. Go ahead.
did you notice the Zoom meeting countdown in that scene? Because you're so stuck
Incredible.
on the hallway.
Incredible.
I didn't notice it until this
Yeah,
third
no, there's a
time that
lot
I
of-
watched it. Because I was like,
Yeah.
how long is it get? Well, the real reason why this is the third time I've seen it, and I was still watching that last scene like this,
Yeah.
laying back as far as I could, and so all I could see was the corner, and it's like meeting will end in 45 seconds. It gives you a full like minute countdown to the end of
Shoot,
the
no
movie.
way.
It's
gotta rewatch.
really
It's really
good.
good and like so
I
subtle.
lost my mind. I lost
Yeah.
my mind. It's so cool. There's a. I'm gonna have to do some research because I can't remember the name of the movie and I can't remember who directed it. But there's this movie I was watching once, and like right before the beginning of the third act, like I swear to God, right before the beginning of the third act, the movie stops, and then a title card comes up, and it says you have 30 seconds to leave the theater, and then it counts down from 30 to 0. It's like
Oh
the
yeah,
biggest.
this is the Princess Bride. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you seen that one,
yeah,
It,
man.
like,
Dude.
The Bong Joon-ho one or the
Stephanie Myers, maybe.
no? But what is this? This is the coolest thing I've
sounds
ever
crazy.
heard.
I'll have to do some research and I'll send it to you guys. I'll send the title to you guys. But it was one of those things where I remember like watching it and I'm like, you have 30 seconds. Obviously, I'm watching it on streaming. I'm not cool enough to see it in a theater, but like, and I'm like trying to give myself only 30 seconds and not pause and not like give myself more than that. And it was just the thing where it evoked the same feeling in me when like the countdown came up in the top corner. I was thinking like when the countdown got to 0, like of that first movie that I've ever seen it in, and the final act began, like it's a really intense and hard to watch final act, but I had steeled myself so much that I was ready for like a Slipknot concert. Like I was like, whatever is going to happen, like I'm down, like and this movie, like when that countdown began, it got the same feeling in me of like my like just literally like my gut clenching, and I'm just like I'm ready for whatever you're gonna throw at me, and I
Mhm.
still wasn't ready for that
Mhm.
final shot. Like it's such an incredible. It's like you hear about what's oh, I'm losing so much movie nerd cred right now, but it's there's a very famous standoff in a Western movie, and you hear and there's this story that like the director originally just had the camera cuts. It's just close-ups of the gunslinger's eyes, and the director originally just had it cut from their eye to their eye to their eye, and somebody commented to him that it made it boring. So he just inserted a shot in between each shot of their eyes of a clock ticking, and suddenly like it becomes the most tense scene ever. It's like or even like the Alfred Hitchcock thing of like if you tell the audience there's a bomb under this table and it's going off on in 6 minutes, that puts a timer on this conversation and it makes you like it literally you feel it in your whole body. And like
Even pre-timer, you get the like this meeting will end in 10 minutes.
yeah.
Like right up on the screen.
Mhm.
And it's so satisfying because with the time of it and how well it plays with the tension is that you kind of think you watched a 2-hour movie, but when it's at the end, you're like, what happened? It's over. Like, have 2 hours passed? Like, was I that invested in this movie? It kind of tricks you into thinking that you were like more into it than even maybe you were. Lanson, your camera keeps freaking out, and it's so scary. I can't talk about this movie while like someone's video is stuttering, and I hear people in my hallway, and King Skeleton just fell over again. Okay,
King Skeleton, no!
I'm moving.
Escalating.
Wait, the camera's not working?
Your camera's working fine, but it keeps
It's just
like flickering.
Flickering.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no! Get out of there!
The visual cues.
I got my Polaroid, guys. I'm gonna go see if I can find.
No, you're fine. Go check it out.
Take us with you.
Take us with you, yeah. I'm not
I
sure
just
this
love-
podcast has enough visual jokes. We should probably do
I-
7 or
couple
8
more.
more.
I've got about 10 more planned. I love a movie. Like you said this, I think, Adam. I can't remember the last movie I saw that made me cover my eyes because I was so scared so much that it makes it like the second or third time. There's maybe a third of this movie that I've never seen.
Yeah, I've
with
never
my actual
seen-
eyes. Like when she takes that first picture and you can see the guy hanging in the picture. That was brand new to me.
I've never
seen that before in my
I
life.
feel like I caught on to so much more because I was a little more brave this go around. But like, I still have never like seen what Jack actually looks like during the film.
Oh, and talk about
Funny enough, he looks like the mascot from Jack in the Box.
Oh,
Think that guy's
Or
name is
Jack.
Jack?
Terrifying. That is terrifying, actually.
yeah.
there's something so beautiful. Everything came together so beautifully in like the COVID sense of it, where I do think it's like in 10 years going to be the definitive movie about COVID. Just the whole suspense timer thing of like, oh, I know I'm going to get eaten by a ghost is like, feels very much like the Zoom COVID experience of like, I'm going to get it. Like, I'm going to die of this horrible disease that's just waiting to enter my body. And like, to make a movie that works better on your laptop than on a big theatrical screen is like definitive of the whole change that's happening in cinema because COVID ruined like going to a movie theater maybe forever. And to be like, well, here's a movie that you're going to like watching better on your laptop. Sorry, like
Also, just
J.J.
like
Abrams and
how involved, like kind of the lockdown, like so many times, like the girls are like running to their door, and it's like if you could just get outside, but just being trapped inside their own houses,
You just can't leave.
and it doesn't age as poorly as I thought it would.
No, it's like
Where
not
like
cringy.
they do the elbow bump thing, and you're like, okay, that is legitimately funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not like overplayed, but it's not ignored that there's a global pandemic going on,
yeah.
it's like, oh,
Even-
Haley's coughing.
Or even just the cheesiness of like when Gemma is going to leave to go get Haley and she just puts on her mask.
Yeah.
Like, there's just that part of you that's like, why bother at this point, man? Like
With
and
movies,
it's great.
with movies, especially horror movies, and we've talked about this a couple times, but there's a need to just dump exposition into it. And I think that's why, I don't know, if you watch a movie like that and you're like, why don't you just like show us the scene? We're smart enough to know what's going on. Like, you don't have to explain this by some mystic character. And I think this movie does that almost perfectly, where it's like, we're not going to really explain the seance all that much. We're not going to explain what's going on. We're not going to explain these guys' friendships. It's just happening. And because that's how real life is. And so it kind of, I don't know, pulls you into it a little bit more when there's a lot of mystery and a lot of it you just don't know because it doesn't really matter all that much.
I mean, like this movie is like the definition of lean and mean. And it's something that I talk about a lot with movies is I hate when movies will tack on something that doesn't feel relevant. And I'm like, you're slowing down the runtime. Like, let's pick up the pace. And this movie is just like, it's such a force of like imagination and problem solving in all of the best ways where like it and Will said it so well, it is in serious danger of feeling very of a certain period of time, but I feel like it very much has the potential to go above that. And like and it has like that really cool thing of everything working against it a little bit, because now every time it succeeds, like that success is a little sweeter than it would be. You know, when you see good practical and visual effects or like stunt work in a normal horror movie, you're like, all right, par for the course. This is like this is the expectation. When you see genuinely great effects and stunt work in this movie, it like it pinned me to the floor. I was so excited when we literally watched that guy get set on fire, when his girlfriend gets, or his wife or whoever she is, gets full lifted into the air and then dropped into the pool. When that one girl apparently like falls off her balcony into a picnic table, like no
was
part
crazy.
of that, you don't think any of those things are on the table in a movie like this.
Yeah.
So when you get them, they're like incredible. Like we haven't talked much about the kills themselves, but incredible. Like every single one of them feels so cool and noteworthy in their own ways. Maybe the most boring one is oh, I can't think of her name. It started with an A. Hold on, I have the page pulled up. Let's find. No, it doesn't start with an A. Radina.
Is it Radina?
Radina.
Oh yeah,
That's-
she just gets clocked. Yeah.
Yeah, like we just
Oh.
see something hit her, and then her camera goes down, and it has a speck of blood on it, and that's the last we see of her.
Oh, that's right.
But we also get that really cool visual moment where her boyfriend or whatever falls from the ceiling. So it's
Mhm.
like, for this movie to go as ham as it does is so cool, and it's so well done and so sweet. The sweetest of the quarantine horror juices, whatever you want to call them.
It also like shows so much respect to the audience of like, you know, Zoom so well, even just by 2020, that I can set things up for you and you're already thinking this is going to be like really bad for me later. Like Caroline sets up the virtual background and like
Yeah.
immediately you're like, this is going to be the worst thing in this film. Like that is such a great setup for a
Yeah.
scare that like as soon as you see it in a horror film, you know that this is a great visual gag, but you've never thought it when you were in a Zoom meeting. And that's probably my favorite death in the film, is just her jumping in and using the glitch effect of the virtual background.
Good.
And you can tell there's not like a special effects department that's spending a lot of time to recreate the effect of a Zoom virtual background and someone glitching in. Like, because every single human being spent 10 hours a day on Zoom, like you could not lie to your audience like that. You have to just use the actual visual like mechanics of Zoom to make the scares work. You can't cheat it in any way or it feels so false.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they don't. Like you never feel like you're being cheated by a special effects team.
Yeah. I also love how they just like use the kind of like naturally unsettling aspects of Zoom, right? Like if you join a meeting twice and you get that just like horrifying like feedback like Gemma does, and just like sometimes like filters pick up on like things that aren't actually there, you know? Like it's really good. I don't know. I like Zoom.
Oh, yeah. When the filter like turns to look at Emma, I was
Ugh.
like,
Oh, that was scary.
I was ready to punch something. Probably Lappin.
Okay.
Get over here.
Lappin, are you kind of the Gemma of this podcast?
Oh.
Oh
Okay,
boy.
well, okay, hold up. I'm gonna stand up for my boy a little more than that. Let's come on. Let's show a little bit of
guys.
respect.
I would
He's
never.
no
No, I'm
Tony
sorry.
Pepperoni, but
Yeah, I would never put that on anybody. And
Oh man. Oh
no.
wow.
Lanson is our Freddie Prinze Jr.
This is the last season of this podcast we'll be doing together. Oh man, goodness. Oh, I I hope I'm not as bad as Gemma, you know? I mean, I haven't made up any stories about a dead friend yet, so,
Yeah.
you know.
You've done this for 3 seasons and not gotten all of your friends murdered. That
Yeah,
is 10
surprising,
times better
right?
than
I know.
Definitely.
a lot farther than Gemma got.
Yeah, for real. For real. Goodness. Well, guys, we have talked extensively about the movie. It's been amazing, but now it is time for us to get into our championship rounds and really follow our namesake of final, well, I guess not final boy status, final girl status. Anyway, so at this point in the podcast, we like to put ourselves in the shoes of the characters. We like to say, could we achieve final boy status or final girl status? So final boy status, for those of you out there that are not familiar with that, is just pretty much you're almost the last one. You almost make it out, but you're pretty much the last person to be killed. And then final girl status, you make it out of the movie, you survive the whole thing. So, you know, yeah, that's just a fun way that we like to put ourselves in the shoes of the characters. So, all right, Mr. Luke, do you think that you would give yourself final boy status or final girl status? And if so, how?
Let me break it down for you, Lappin.
Okay.
It's very clear for me.
All
Very
right.
clear to me that final boy status is it's mine.
Yes.
And I think I'm coming for the title, and I'm gonna give myself final girl status as well. Let me break down my plan for you.
Okay.
I'm gonna take you back to a time that feels like millions of years ago. A year called 2019. During the year of 2019, if you were going to video conference somebody, what would be your video conferencing software of choice?
Skype all day.
Skype.
Skype, frankly, really dropped the bag in 2020 because the verb for video conferencing used to be Skype. You wouldn't say, I'm going to video conference my friend in Atlanta. You'd be like, I am going to Skype my friend in Atlanta. So let me break this down for you, Lappin. I am the one guy on earth who is brand loyal to Skype. No matter what happened throughout the entire pandemic, I was loyal to the people that started it all. Skype had my money from beginning to end. And if somebody even went so far as to invite me to a Zoom meeting, I would cut them out of my life. So one fine day, I get a text message from my friend, Gemma, telling me that they're going to be doing a seance over Zoom. That tells me everything I need to know. One, I don't do seances after the great incident of 2006. Two, I don't use Zoom. I'm Skype until I die, baby. I only have 2 loyalties in my life. One of them is to Skype, one of them is to Bing. As far as I'm concerned, Gemma is dead to me. Not only do I not attend that meeting, I Skype a very good friend in Toronto, and we have a lovely evening. Full book club meeting. We just talk about a nice book we read.
Do you care to name this mystery person, this mystery friend? Would their name happen to rhyme with rake?
All right, you caught me. It's Tony Pepperoni. I have
I
book club
knew
with
it.
Tony
I
Pepperoni.
knew it. The pep is always right.
I'm just really excited about our book club. We're reading The Giver, and I can't wait to tell him my thoughts.
That's honestly so wholesome. I love that. The Giver. That's amazing. I love it. That sounds like an incredible plan. Adam, are you giving yourself final boy status, final girl status? If so, then how?
I think I will with this movie. Some movies are hard to survive, but this one, I am going to survive it by going to a couple of these Zoom meetings already and doing some seances. And I realized that the job of I forget the character's name. Who's the seance person? The
Salen.
Salen. I'm like, that's a pretty good job. I could make some pretty good money. So I start practicing this, and I realize I realize the rules of demons. I'm like, I could really abuse this power. So I build my way up in politics. You'll soon see why. Run for governor, run for the Senate. I run for the presidency, and just through my charm, I make it. and obviously
Full
the powers
Kennedy.
beyond is mostly what it is, because I'm really friends with them. Then I make friends with all of the large leaders. I don't want to get political in this podcast, so I'm just going to say large leaders who are a little crazy, that you're a little scared if they might have nuclear codes in their possession. Whatever name populates in your head, that's true. I get friends with them and I say, hey guys, let's do a Zoom meeting. We all get together. I light the candle. We say some stuff. I initiate a fake person that is my friend. Then I ended the Zoom call on my end. I jump out and I just let what happens happens. And I basically I saved the world is what I'm saying from nuclear disaster. So not only do I survive, but I say give the human race another couple hundred years.
I like this theory a lot because the big scary leaders who were afraid of having nuclear codes very famously spent 2020 trying to just have chill hangs with the person who beat them in the presidential election. Just like, hey, you know what? Fair and square. How about some Jackbox games?
Behind closed doors, that's all they're doing.
Oh man, I love that. All right,
Yeah, Discord's huge in North Korea.
yeah, for real, yeah. Right, Will and Rio, for you guys, what do you think? Are you guys giving yourselves final boy status, final girl status? If so, how you doing it?
I've got a quick one.
Okay, go for it.
I think I get final boy status for this one. Let me take you back to the year 2020, the canonical year of this film, and I get a text from my friend Haley. It says, "Hey, us and the boys are getting together. We want to do a little seance. We want to have a little chat on a nice Sunday afternoon." To which I reply, "Hey, you know what? This sounds really great. Let's totally hang out. But here's my invite code. Everybody needs to come to my island. Turnips are like skyrocketing for me today. So if we just get everybody here on the island, let's just do this over Animal Crossing. We're all doing it. Everybody has their Switch in host. You can. I think this is a nice detail. You can tell that everyone has their Switch. You remember 2020 when you all had your Switch just out of frame of the camera and you're playing Animal Crossing, and we just say like, you know what, we'll just use the in-game chat, which is harder to lie on in Animal Crossing. You very famously can't tell a lie in the bad in-game chat. You know, it caps out at
they have servers.
6 people. Yeah, like there's no swearing, so no demons are gonna get like particularly upset at you. And we'd still summon Jake. Like Gemma's gonna find a way to tell this like really, really tasteless story that she's been working on in Animal Crossing. But I think that the ghost will be so charmed by the little critters and colorful world and my great island that I'd been curating for me and all my friends, that we'd all die. I'm not final girl in any by any reach, but I think I've got a little bit extra time, just kind of maybe that extra 20 minutes that, you know, you get the sense everyone's so close to getting out at the end. I think if this film took place just by like the nature of the text chat that's really bad on the Nintendo Switch, I think the runtime for my film's probably about 2 hours 45 minutes. And the kills come a lot slower and a lot less noticeable. You just see one at a time, like my Switch, like Radina's left the island, and we all have to watch her fly away for like 45 seconds. I'm like, oh, that's weird. I hope she's okay. And then I die second to last because I'm the host of the island, and it would be probably a bad play on the ghost's part to take me out first, because then he loses his connection to everybody else, just like digital over the Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my move. But I'm dying. I don't see a single scenario where I don't die in this.
Yeah. Similarly, I do think I make a pretty solid final boy status, but I am not making it all the way through. Just kind of based on my understanding of our guy Jack, we kind of established homeboy loves a prop. He likes to throw things, you know.
A real carrot
Um,
top. Yeah.
Yeah. So
We figured out who it is. Oh my god.
Oh no,
It's
Jack!
the ghost.
You know you're
The ghost of Carrot
it
Top.
could be anybody using this mask. We don't know. But okay, yeah. So COVID, the pandemic, kind of hit March. That's spring. I don't know if you all are like me, but I love a good spring clean. Okay. So at this point, I have tons of time to spring clean. So like my chairs, spring cleaned. They're gone. My picnic table, gone. Swimming pool, out of here.
Drained.
All of
yeah.
my cooking supplies, they're all gone. So he's got nothing on me until like 50 minutes in when he realizes he can just lift me in the air and snap my neck. But I do make it a long time. He does have to be a little bit more creative, you know? So that's what I got.
I do like the idea of like every drawer in your kitchen opening as he's like, God, there's got to be something I
There's
can
gotta
throw
be
at her.
something. It isn't empty.
This is so unsustainable.
just white square, nothing in there. Yeah.
It's a
How do
good
these
way to
people live?
survive Final Destination.
He's like, you live
as
like
well.
this? And I'm like, yeah.
He's like, maybe I'll leave you alone. I don't know.
He's got nothing.
Yeah, you're living like Final Destination status. Like at
Yeah.
the
You're like,
end of that
"Nothing's
movie
killing
where he's
me."
like eating cat food for some reason.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay. Surprise, surprise to Luke and Adam, who have heard me say this many a time, but I'm giving myself final girl status, and I'm going to tell you how. There's one of two ways. One which would actually be me, and one which, is kind of farcical. You guys get to just kind of guess for yourself which one is which, but okay. So let's say option number one. My friends, okay, this is 2020. We're in the pandemic. We're just chilling. And my good friend, Adam Bone, out of the blue, texts me. He's like, "Hey, dude, you want to do a seance over Zoom?" I'm like, "I don't want to do a seance in real life, dude. So, nope, I don't show up. Nothing happens." So that's option number one. Option
Sweet.
number two is, in all reality, we think the ghost is wearing the mask, but it's really me wearing the mask. Not all demons are from the other side. You know what I mean? You feel me? So, I set this whole thing up. I'm like, you know what? Let's see what happens. I just want to have some fun. I want to meet a demon. So I make up a terrible story about my grandmother who, I broke my arm when I was a child and she spoon fed me, I don't know, SpaghettiOs and I got better. And then she died of like leukemia. Never happened. I pushed my grandmother down the stairs. So this demon ends up coming in and he's like wreaking havoc on everybody else. And then he comes, he's like, okay, well, I kind of want to like enjoy my kill a little bit. I want to savor it. So I'm just going to take a look around this guy's house. He goes in my basement and he finds some terrible, terrible things. And he goes, you know what, man? Maybe I'm not the demon in this situation. He's infested with his own demons of his own mind. So maybe I'll leave him alone. And so, he leaves. And by right of me just being a terrible person, I survived this movie. And that is how I would do it.
So he
What's in
finds
your
marionettes in your basement and leaves you alone.
You wish it was just marionettes, boys.
Oh no.
It's also puppets.
Worse than puppets. Well, also
He
puppets
told
do
us
that.
what happened to his grandma. He did not tell us what happened to his grandpa.
No. Okay. Well, wow. We've done it, guys. We have gotten all the way to the end of another episode, but not only that, another season of Final Boy Status, season 3 in the books. As always, we're always super appreciative of everybody out there that, tunes in, listens to our podcast. Really, this is a lot of fun for friends to get together and to do. So hopefully you guys enjoyed as well. Before we wrap up with our episode, we just kind of like to open it up as far as plugs or shout outs that anybody would like to give. So why don't we start with you, Adam? Is there anything going on in your life that you would like to just kind of let the people at home know?
Not a ton. Do stream occasionally. Find me at Indie Adam Bones, all lowercase, no underscores, on Twitch. I might be there.
Very nice.
What do you play?
Well, right now it's Minecraft, and then I read philosophy during it. uh, Well, just intermittently. But I've been known to play Phasmophobia for those horror fans out there. I might do that again. That was fun.
Very nice. I like it. Luke, what do you have going on that you'd like everybody at home to know about?
Oh, you know me, I'm just the busiest little bee. I hard to say what I'll be up to exactly when this podcast comes out. Which, by the way, we somehow
Halloween.
we went the entire podcast without saying Happy Halloween.
Oh yeah.
So excited! This is obviously our favorite time of year. So happy that some of y'all spent your Halloween with us. And if you're listening after Halloween, hey, that's cool too. As far as what I got going on, I do a lot of different stuff. I try to keep busy. So if you want to keep up with me, it's best just to follow me on social media. I'm at Luke Haueter, LukeHaueter. Basically everywhere. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I also am on Twitch, and I do some streams occasionally where we mess around and have a good time. And yeah, my Twitch channel is just my name again. So come track me down if you want to see me be a professional menace.
I love it. Okay, to our esteemed guests, Wil and Rio, what's going on with you guys? What do you want the people out there to know?
We would just love for you, fantastic people, to know that sounded so disingenuous. I'm so sorry to all of you listening.
Yeah.
I genuinely
I hope
think
you
you're
don't
great.
have a happy Halloween.
I do for real
Hey,
think you're
listen
great.
up,
Thank you so
you
much for
big
listening
dumb
to this.
idiots.
Rio and I, by the time you're hearing this, will have launched our podcast, Mind Over Mattel, a Barbie movie breakdown. If you want to watch every single animated Barbie film that's ever been created with us, we're going to throw in a little bit of film theory as well, and mostly just try to get emotionally and ideologically prepared for Greta Gerwig to do her cool thing up on the brand. So if you feel like you're stoked, you're catching the Barbie wave, come on and listen with us. Just
Yeah.
Mind Over Mattel.
All you horror movie fans,
If
hop
you want
on
to see
over.
something really scary, yeah, wait
The
till you
audience
see
for you.
Barbie of Swan Lake. I'd love for you guys to check it out.
Yeah. Also, if you watched Host and you were like, "Oh, this was so good. I just want more." Go ahead and look me up on IMDb, Rio LeFevre. Click the only movie under my name, and there's some great content there for you.
Oh,
A
God, that
completely
sounds awesome,
inaccessible
actually.
film that no one
Yes.
could ever watch.
Oh, really?
You can find it.
Come on, guys.
If you find our podcast socials and message us and ask
Yeah.
for the link to Far Remote, the film that we made for our university that was inspired by Host, you hit us up. I
Hit us
will
up.
send you a Google Drive link.
Yeah.
I swear.
I thought this was a situation where I was going to have to use my IMDb credit to get access to that.
If
I'll
you wanna
trade
be
you.
our IMDb credits.
I'll trade you a Far Remote for whatever you've got.
Oh, that's
Oh,
Yeah,
I just
I just traded mine with Tom Hanks. I'm now the guy in Philadelphia on IMDb. So yeah.
that comes with an Oscar too, which is really nice.
I
He
didn't
has to
have
give it up,
enough
too?
to get the Oscar. He still got the Oscar.
Okay.
Okay. But I mean, then I don't have to deal with the kind of the tastelessness of being the guy who won an Oscar playing a character that maybe we wouldn't play these days, but I still get the credit on IMDb.
Something about I get what you're going for, but also like just the statement of like nobody would ever play a gay character nowadays.
No, it's 2022.
Don't play gay characters.
It's 2022. You think there's
A
going to be
gay
a
man on
character in a
screen?
movie? Crazy. Was there a single gay person in Host? I don't think so.
Our host basically spoof. That was funny. It's very gay, so
Yeah.
that's a big plus. With real gay actors too.
Yeah.
Which
And a
Oh yeah.
kind of schmexy scene with masks on. So.
Oh, we had okay. I just have to tell you this before you end. We filmed a whole college students kind of getting steamy sex scene, but because we weren't allowed to shoot without masks, they're wearing masks
Yeah.
and taking each other's shirts off, but the masks stay on.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just awakened something in Levin.
This is doing
You
something.
guys want to just drop the private chat on the stream here? Oh man, that is awesome though. I sincerely am hitting you guys up. I want to see that. Goodness gracious, this has been just so much fun. Thank you guys for being here. Surprise, surprise to those who have heard my voice before when it comes to shouting out things at the end. I'd like to shamelessly plug this podcast, Final Boy Status. It's a lot of fun to make. Hopefully, you guys have fun listening to it. Really, I feel like it's just an excuse for like 3 friends plus other friends to just get together and mess around. So
3 friends plus 2 other guys.
was 2 other guys, Will
3
and Rio,
friends
my
and
homies,
Adam
and
and
then
Luke.
Adam and Luke. Those guys. Oh my goodness. But yes, wherever you find podcasts at, wherever you listen to your podcast, look us up, Final Boy Status. This is season 3, so we do have some other episodes kind of backlogged if you want to work your way up or back, however you want to do it. Feel free to do so. Okay, everybody, have a safe Halloween and enjoy the spooky season. We'll see you.